It's Mary Ellen from Create With Me, and I'm here in the Creativity Nest for another episode of Teach Me Tuesday. So, I don't know if you know it or not, but this is National Watercolor Month, and I promised you last week that I would bring you some tips and ideas on watercoloring. So, we're going to start with the very basics today, and then I'll just build on it each week through the month of July. So, we're going to start with super basics, what kind of tools to use, what kind of paper. So, let me take you down to my desk. All right, so we're going to start with a couple different things. I love to use the water painters when I'm doing, oops, I forgot to put my comments on just to see if anyone's there. When I'm doing, if you have questions, when I'm doing watercoloring, and then there's two favorite papers. And one is the shimmery white paper. I love, love, love the shimmery white paper. That's my number one paper. And then we've got watercolor paper. I really try to avoid any of the regular basic whites or even the thick whites because the water absorbs into the paper. And we want something that has a coating or can handle the extra watercoloring. So that's why I like to have either shimmery white or watercolor paper. And then here's the water painters. Let me talk to you a little bit about the water painters. They come in three sizes. There's a small tip, then there is a medium tip, medium pointed tip, and then there's a flat wide tip. Okay, and I like to use this when I'm adding a lot of water to my papers. This one gets the job done quickly. The other thing you need to know about the water painters, and I think it frustrates some people, is that the water painters actually go on, you'll be like, I can't get it open, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Well, it's actually the opposite. So keep that in mind when you're struggling to open your water painter to add water, that it goes the opposite way. So then there is a lot of things you can put in these chambers. I just have plain water in mine, but I have also been known to use alcohol or different products like that. So you can put bleach in them. There's just a lot you can do with them, but I like to use water. And then let's talk about our ink. So there's a couple different things you can do. You can use your ink pads, and when I use the ink pads, I always, take my fist and give it a good squeeze. And what I'm wanting to do is deposit ink onto the inside of my pad. It looks messy, but it makes a great palette. So I just give everyone a squeeze. You have to give it a pretty firm squeeze on these pads because these pads are a little less flexible than our old pads. So we're just picking up a little bit of ink by squeezing tightly. Puts it in there just like that. Here's some of the new ink colors. I've got Bermuda Bay and Mango Melody, and then I've got the ink color Sweet Sorbet and Parakeet Party. The other way you can do it is you can use your re-inkers on a block, and you can put some colors on a block, and I'll show you a card I made using this. So I just put it on the block, and then I pick up the ink with my water painter. Now, this is something we're just going to do kind of random. I just want to show you some random backgrounds. One of the things I think people struggle with is that they, I'm just priming this because I haven't primed it yet. It says right on here, it says push. So there's a place I just push it. Usually I'll just push it until water starts running into my brush and then onto my palm. So all I'm doing is priming the chamber. You saw a little bubble might have come up there. You can see the water starting to come into the chamber. It takes quite a few little squeezes. Now it's coming down into the brush. It's just like when you start some of those markers. You have to, chalk markers, you have to kind of prime them. This one's wanting to sit right in there. There it goes. Okay, it's bubbling now. Coming down. Okay, so now I've got some water. So one thing that I think is super important is that you prepare your paper before you even bring in your ink. So I like to, if I'm going to do just a wash background, and that's all we're going to talk about today, I like to take my wide water brush and I like to give my paper some water, because if you go on with a dry brush, you'll get it's an okay effect, but it's a different effect. So now, well, I guess I'm going to use this because this one's already primed. So all I'm going to do is pick up some paper, some ink from the lid, and when I drop it down on there, it's just because my paper is primed and ready to go, it will go wherever I want. Then the other thing is always have something handy, a paper towel. I'm just going to use grid paper here, and I'm going to write off just like you would with a blender pen until it comes off clear. Then I'm going to pick up some of my Parakeet Party on, kind of just doing a background. This is going to be I don't know what it's going to be, a fun card though. And then I write it off, pick up some of my Sweet Sorbet, and then I'm going to add that. But because my paper is already wet, it's dry here, it's not going all over the place. I have more control over it. Then I squeeze, and I'm going to clean this up because I'm going to go into Mango Melody, and I don't want that to be orange. I want that to be yellow. There's not a lot on here, so it's going to be super subtle. We'll just finish off here. We want to overlap, then we might get a little bit of a orange. So see how this paper is just curling just a little? That's okay. It's going to straighten out as it dries. That'll be perfectly fine. So now the watercolor paper, what's nice about it, and let me write that off just another time. What's nice about it is it can take a lot. It can take a lot of going back, revisiting. I really like it for that reason. It doesn't pill. Eventually this would get, it would say, hello, stop, please. This paper will take a licking and keep on ticking. So I like to just add my water if I'm wanting to do a wash. And then I'm just going to pick up some ink. I'm going to use the, this is Pool Party. These are progressively darker, I think. Well, might not be. This is Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to go, I'm not even going to clean. See how the water helps? Oh, I'm going to stop right there. That looks so cool. I'm going to pick up, this is Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to finish out with some Bermuda Bay down here. Let the water do the work for me. Okay, I like that. I'm going to pick up, this is Balmy Blue, and I'm going to put some Balmy Blue up here. Okay, super, super pretty. Super pretty. It's just letting the water work with the ink. And see, there was a little bit of a difference when I'm using the watercolor paper because it holds a lot of water. So when I applied my ink, it was allowing things to kind of spread, where this kind of stayed where I wanted it to. So depending on what you're wanting to do, that might help you. So I want to show you a card. I'm going to show you a couple things from the celebration catalog. So that we have going on right now, for every $50 order, you could purchase $50 and get this paper for free. It's silver and gold paper. It's got dots and stripes. And the other item I used on this card, and I'll show you, is the super cute hippos, the hippest hippos, and the die set. So let me show you my card. I did a little watercolor wash on the striped gold paper. I did the progressively, started with Pool Party and went to my Coastal Cabana, hit some darker Bermuda Bay down here. I started up here with Pool Party, then Coastal Cabana, finished off with some Balmy Blue, got the Bermuda Bay down there, and then added my super, super cute hippo saying, "You're so hip." So go out there, experiment, enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teach Me Tuesday. Let me just pop my name up there in case you're not familiar. I've been a demonstrator since 2003, and I love the watercolor, and I hope you've learned